1 of the Beverly Hills Court, County of Los Angeles is now in session. Honorable Craig Carden presiding. Please be seated.
Court calls the matter of People versus Ben Moshe, SA 026134. Counsel, would you be kind enough to state your appearances for the record?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Richard Waldo for the defense.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Steve Katz with the People.
So we're here today. Ms. Ben Moshe has pled open to the court. She's pled open to 2 counts of 187, Penal Code 187, which is murder. It's second-degree murder based on the case of People versus Watson. Each of those counts carries with it a term of 15 to life. She's also pled to a third count, a violation of Vehicle Code Section 23153, which is driving while under the influence of an alcoholic beverage with serious bodily or great bodily injury, and there's a 12022.7 enhancement. That's 12022.7B for the victim in this case who suffered paralysis. That carries with it a 3-year maximum on the underlying charge, 5 additional years for the great bodily injury. There are also 6 additional individuals who were apparently injured in this matter, and each of those individuals you can receive up to an additional 1 year, except the law maxes that out at 3 years total. So the total in this case, if my math serves me right, is 41 years to life. Do the people care to be heard before the court imposes sentence?
Yes, Your Honor. Before argument, though, I would like to introduce to the court 4 victims in this case who would like to offer victim impact statements.
Okay.
Thank you. The people first call Mason Lee.
You want to come on around here, Mr. Lee?
Before the day of the accident, Kate was a bright, outgoing kid who was an excellent student and friend. A week before the accident, she had committed to her top choice college and was happy and full of hope and excitement for her next 4 years. At this point, we see no realistic way that she'll be able to start college in the fall, let alone successfully complete the semester of high school. She suffers from PTSD and crippling guilt in knowing that she encouraged Chloe to drive and Jonah to get in the car. As the brother of Kate, I stand here in no way attempting to compare the pain of others and how this has affected Kate and us as our family. The grief, injuries, and lifelong scars of the families of Jonah, Omer, and Wesley will never go away. Although Kate is not charged with a crime here, she will be dealing with her own moral culpability for this event and the damage it has done for the rest of her life. All 3 of these kids were good friends of Kate, and she will forever have to live with the tragic memory. Regardless, each kid, family, and the entire community was damaged by one single decision: Chloe's reckless decision to drink and then drive a car. Considering all the poor decisions made by many of the kids that day, if you remove that one decision, Omer and Wesley are alive today, and Jonah is a healthy, happy person. One dangerous decision, a decision that would set each kid on a terrible life journey. As for Kate, she does not sleep, she does not leave her room, and she's extremely unstable. Despite her nightly emotional breakdowns, our family has tried to regain some peacefulness in our home. Although Chloe was ultimately the driver, Kate could have found her way to the driver's seat that day. Omer, Wesley, and Jonah and their families have paid the price. Chloe will pay a massive price for this crime as well. We hope that all of the kids and families involved will in some way find a sense of peace and purpose in their lives going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. The people next call Howard Wu to offer a victim impact statement. Mr. Wu.
Mr. Wu, if you'd be kind enough to come on down.
My wife and I, along with 2 older brothers, always have loved Wesley since the day he was born almost 18 years ago. Wesley has been our sweet, loving baby, a caring son, and a wonderful brother You have robbed him away from not only me, but my wife, but also his two older brothers. My son was always a happy kid who loved making new friends wherever he went. From the days he was at Erisman Elementary School to Beverly Hills High School, he could always make new friends every week. Even after joining baseball and also joining the local Boy Scout and the ASB classes, his friends have only grown. I know that he was looking very forward to finally graduating from high school with all his friends, and now you have not only have you taken away that moment from him, but you also have taken away that moment from me. Now I will never hear him speak at graduation or see him receive his high school diploma. He had a bright future ahead of him. He always cared for his friends, and he believed he could use that to be a great doctor someday. But now I will never see him complete his dreams. All the things that the parents think about, like having your son and daughter leaving off for college, graduating from a professional school, marrying somebody, and having a family, all have disappeared. Every piece of hope and positivity have turned into a dread and sadness. We will forever miss him, but he will always live in our heart and minds. And to Chloe, I want to let you know, not only is my family devastated by the loss of my son, but also it's the suffering and the loss you have brought upon to your family and to yourself, and all due to the stupid mistakes. I hope you think long and hard about the pain you have caused to my family, your family, and other victims and the families, and everyone else that's affected by this tragic drunk driving crash. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Wu. Your Honor, I next called Jonah Oakham to offer a victim impact statement. I'll be assisting him. Excuse me.
I'm here to speak on behalf of Omer Cohen. There are very few people in each of our lives who grew up with you and never grow apart from you. Omer was that person to me. From the moment I met him as a kindergartner to the moment he was taken from us, Omer was someone I always looked up to. I want you all to imagine two little kindergarten boys during recess going around the farthest corners of the schoolyard, picking up and playing with spiders. That is how Omer and I met, and from that moment on, we were inseparable. Spending countless days going to his house playing soccer, doing homework, and catching bugs was the way I grew up. He was my second brother. I remember one day, his mom came home to find a whole swarm of red giant spiders in her laundry net. When we caught the spiders, we needed a place to put them. So this, to us, was a great idea. The confused and surprised face she gave us had us laughing for hours. His inviting laugh was contagious to me. He always was able to make a situation enjoyable, no matter where we were. We had that type of connection that is unexplainable. We would spend countless hours in his backyard, playing soccer, practicing for the day we'd be able to lead a team. High school gave us this opportunity. In the past year, as seniors, our dream was fulfilled. The respect and admiration our teammates had for Omer was unparalleled to anything I've ever seen. At the end of each practice, our coach would allow me and Omer to say a few words to our teammates, and I always watched the way my teammates listened to him. Every piece of advice was gold to them. It was no different in the classroom. He was the one who had the best test grades, could fix any problem, and always had the correct answer. When Omer was called on, everybody's hands dropped, as we knew what he was about to say would be worth listening to. It is the little things about Omer that I will miss most. His nervous step, his sweet smile, his special humor, his hidden sensitivity, and his attention to detail. Life simply feels empty without him. A massive part of me and my heart is broken. They say when someone dies, a part of them dies with you. All the memories I've had with him are final. There will be no tomorrow or next time. There will never be another spider to catch, ball to kick, or friend to care for. There will be no graduation, college, future, or family. Omer always took care of me, always supported me, and always was there for me. As he said to me a couple weeks earlier, anything for you, Jonah. And he truly meant it. What hurts the most about today is that I wasn't there for him. I could have prevented this. I'm sorry, Omer. I really did not mean this to happen. I will never forget your impact on my life. You're my brother forever. Only a moment you stayed, but what an impact you have left on our hearts.
Thank you.
Finally, Your Honor, people ask Candace and Ronnie to offer a victim impact statement.
I'm speaking on behalf of Omer Cohen as well. My mind is blank, yet at the same time it's clustered with endless thoughts and emotions. I'm afraid to close my eyes because every time I do, I see Omer's face. This wasn't supposed to happen. He wasn't supposed to get hit. He wasn't supposed to die. Things like this don't happen to people our age. And of all people, why did it happen to Omer? This year, Omer became one of my closest friends. The days I dreaded being at school, I always felt a sense of comfort when I saw him at class. At times where I felt like I had no one at school, he proved me wrong, demonstrating that I could always count on him to make me feel like I belonged. Thank you, Omer. Thank you for making me feel like even in the toughest situations, you would always be there for me. At school, everyone liked Omer. People always counted on him for homework help or just to joke around with. As I grew closer to Omer, I realized there's more to him aside from his intelligence and contagious smile. He was the most driven, kind, caring, and genuine person I knew. And he believed in me more than anyone else I knew. In my mind, I keep replaying that day. Everything from the moment I woke up to the car crash. I think about all the ways the crash could have been prevented. But most of all, I think of all the ways our timing could have been off. The more I replay the day, the more I come up with reasons to blame myself. I should have let him buy those stupid chips from the vending machine that would have delayed our arrival to the incident. I should have let him park the car in the parking lot rather than the street. That would have saved us from being in the middle of the crash. I'm sorry I couldn't save you, Omer.
Thank you.
There are no other victim impact statements, Your Honor.
Do you want to argue at this point, Counselor, or would you rather me go to the defense and then argue at the end?
Your Honor, I'll begin.
Okay.
No one intends to hurt someone else when getting into a car having had too much to drink. And no one expects to hurt anybody else in getting into a car when having too much to drink. But everybody knows how dangerous it is, and everybody knows that it can be deadly. And the defendant, Ms. Ben-Moshe, knew that too. Yet she got into that car and she took the lives of two young people and irreparably changed the life of a third person. When she did that, she stole from those three people's families and friends the joys that go through with watching someone march through life. She took that from them. And however sorry she may be, the families and friends of those three people can never get their loved ones back. Some mistakes in life are unforgivable. This was one of them. The people ask that Ms. Ben-Moshe be sentenced to the maximum term allowed by law, 41 years to life. Drinking and driving brings tragedy, the kind of tragedy that brought us here today. She should have known, and her poor judgment cost these three people's family and friends something that can never be returned to them. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. For the defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. There's no other way to describe this but as a horrible, horrible tragedy for everyone involved. Most of all, of course, for those dead, paralyzed, injured, for our entire community, for the school, for all the friends of all the classmates who were involved. And while Chloe survived the accident physically, no one should doubt that she's been emotionally crushed by the awful tragedy that her bad judgment has caused. No words are adequate to express her remorse, her guilt, her anguish over this, and no words can bring back those who died or to take away the injuries that people have suffered. But the court should know, and the community should know, that Chloe is deeply, deeply sorry for her actions. And yes, these were her actions, and she's not trying to shift the blame. She'll accept the sentence of the court. And the question is just what would be a just and fair sentence in this case. Your Honor, we often see here in court many criminal defendants who've cycled through the system, who are repeat offenders, career criminals, hardened criminals, people who have lived a life of crime. And yet, even for those defendants, we offer them second chances, sometimes even third strikes. And I submit that in this case, the court should be no less merciful. This defendant is not a repeat offender, a hardened criminal. What we have here is a young woman, good student, an excellent student. She was part of the Medical Science Academy at the school. Her goal, her lifelong dream, is to be a pediatrician. She volunteers working with sick children at UCLA Hospital, and at the same time works a part-time job in the afternoons and the weekends. In short, we have a good kid with tremendous promise who made a tremendous mistake, a tremendous lapse of judgment, and now all that promise has vanished. And not just for her, but for so many others as well. Being a teenager means being somewhat in between. You're not an adult. You're not a kid. You have some freedom, but you still have some restrictions. And I think in many ways, when you're a teenager, your eyes are often far in the future, and you may not realize all the ramifications and effects and consequences that could happen from your actions right now. And that was the case here. Chloe never intended to have these horrible things happen. And I would submit to the court that a long prison sentence, what would that accomplish in this case? She's already destroyed her life. She's destroyed her family's lives. They're suffering. To take their child away for many years of imprisonment, that will not bring any of the victims back or make this whole. I would ask the court to be merciful and consider a very strict and very long and very difficult probationary sentence.
Counsel, you know the court doesn't have that discretion.
Well, Your Honor, I do know the court has discretion to run the sentences concurrently. And I would ask at the very least in this case, that whatever sentence the court deems just and proper, that the terms run concurrently.
Thank you, counsel. Anything further?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
I've been on the bench for 17 years. These are the hardest cases for the reasons that you've heard, and these cases happen all the time. It doesn't make them any easier for anybody involved, but they can't keep happening. We live in an age where one bad decision by you, just like the defendant, can change your life and ruin it forever. Most of the time, what we think about is something you've done online with social media, something that hurts you individually. But when you make a bad decision and get behind a 2,000 or 3,000 pound automobile, which is one of the most dangerous weapons that anyone can get their hands on, and you drive while impaired, you put others at risk, not just yourself. So as in this case, you've hurt not only one, 2 have died, 1 is paralyzed, 6 other injured. That's 9 lives have been severely either ruined or damaged or permanently harmed. You've also hurt yourself. That's 10 people by one bad decision. And I know that you have friends in this courtroom. I know the victims have friends in this courtroom. And I will say to you that as I look around this courtroom, I see people who I went to Beverly Hills High School with. Yes, I went and graduated from Beverly Hills High School. I played on the same fields that you play on. I ran track, played football, played soccer on those same fields, attended the same AP classes and the same regular classes. And this has to stop. As I drive around the city, whether it's Sunset Boulevard, Beverly Drive, Doheny Drive, I can go on and on and on. I see things that you shouldn't see. Locations where bad things happen. And it doesn't matter that you're in high school, you are adults once you hit 18. And even when you're younger than 18, you can be tried as an adult. And you have to think before you get behind the wheel of an automobile. You have to think. And I know that we have officers in the courtroom who will tell you what they see, how bad it is. It is. This is serious because you wanted to be a pediatrician, correct? That won't happen. You will never be a doctor. So those of you who think it's okay, I've had 1 drink, 2 drinks, I can drive, wrong. Don't drink and drive. Waive arraignment for judgment. Any legal cause?
No, Your Honor.
The court has considered extensively the fact that on the one hand, there are 10 people, 9 victims and you, who have been injured and will suffer as the result of this. The other hand, you have no record. You've been a perfect student, a perfect daughter, perfect family member, but that's not enough. The court's going to sentence you on count 1 as follows: 15 years to life. That's for a violation of Penal Code Section 187. Count 2, also a violation of Penal Code Section 187. That will be 15 to life, and the court has no justification for running them concurrent. They will be run consecutive. That is 30 to life. As to count 3, a violation of Vehicle Code Section 23-153. That is a 16, 2, and 3-year base term plus 5 years on the enhancement. I'm going to select the midterm, 2 years, and the 5-year enhancement. That's 37 years to life. And as to the 1 years for the additional victims, there are 6 of them. I am struggling because this is such a large number, but the flip side is they all have meaning and they all have importance. So I am going to impose 1 year consecutive for each of the 3 that I'm allowed to. That is 40 to life. And the sentence will be forthwith. Bailiff, please take the defendant into custody. I should be clear while you are leaving, there is restitution that will be ordered. Do you have a figure for that?
Not at this time, Your Honor. We will provide that to the court.
Okay. You do have to pay for all of the expenses, both medical and funeral expenses, on top of everything else.